Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Backstage Pass. I'm your host, Samantha Powell, and as always, I'm joined by the wonderful Ben Bernard. Ben, how are you? Good to see you as always.
I'm doing very well, Sam. Good to see you too. How have you been since we last spoke?
I've been wonderful, enjoying this hot and humid weather, and it's allergy season here. It's killing me, but just I'm loving that the days are longer. Long walks with the dog when she's not, overheating or anything like that. But yeah, just spending so much time outside and gearing up for InfoComm. What are you doing on the other side of the pond?
Well, the weather isn't as nice. I mean, it's been nice. Nice and kind of fresh, kind of spring-like. Not hot. I wouldn't say it's been hot, but yeah, it's been pretty good. Had a nice weekend. We had the Eurovision Song Contest this weekend, which I'm not sure if news of that stretches that far across the pond, but it's quite big in Europe. So that was good fun. Austria were victorious this year, so they will be hosting the competition next year. Yeah. Good fun was had by all. I watched a bit of Formula One on Sunday. Big fan of Formula One. It was a good race. So, a pretty good weekend. How about you? What did you get up to this weekend?
What did we do? So, did a little barbecue on the grill, like some burgers and stuff. Going to see a baseball game, so that's coming up. So it's our little league or minor league team here in Charlotte. So excited to do that. No, not Bush League. I know we had to do some research on really what the meaning was for that. So not a Bush League.
Because we were talking about doing a special episode where, because in my head I have all these random American phrases and sayings, expressions, product names, whatever, and every now and then I tell you them and I say, what is this? What does that mean? And then last week when we were chatting before we recorded, I was talking about Bush League. I was like, what on earth does that mean? So we were thinking we could potentially do a whole episode where I fire these phrases at you and then you tell me what they mean.
Yeah, because I know we were also talking about like Cracker Barrel and,
Yeah.
I happen in the comparisons, and it's so sad that you have not ever been.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine that is such an insight into what goes on in my head? So in my head, as well as everything else swirling around, are words like Bush League and Cracker Barrel, which have absolutely no relationship to each other, but are somehow there, and they need to be defined. I need to know what they mean.
I'm sure we can find a correlation between Cracker Barrel and Bush League. But yes,
you were quite keen on was it the maple syrup that you get at Cracker Barrel? You were like, it comes in like a little glass bottle or something.
It does, and it's nice and warm in comparison to, the way that McDonald's, I appreciate all of the syrups that I can get from a fast food place, but I think the presentation of the Cracker Barrel syrup is by far it ranks supreme.
It's superior. Yeah, I mean, it could potentially be the same stuff, but when you get to present it in such a way,
and it's more sustainable, right? You can reuse that glass bottle. So
you can. What do you reuse your glass bottles for?
I don't. You know what, though? But now that you brought it to my attention, because one of my little secret tricks to maintain that, you're healthy and everything with all the travel and, whether it's ISE or if it's going to be InfoComm in Orlando, apple cider vinegar is a must-have. And now that I think about it, I could probably reuse those bottles and put my apple cider vinegar in that and then bring that with me. So you do your little emergency.
What do you do with the apple cider vinegar?
Oh, yes, darling. So you get green tea. I personally there's a kombucha green tea. See, now we're giving good tips for InfoComm health and how you stay healthy to make it through InfoComm. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So my little concoction is it's a kombucha green tea, the tea bag. So you just bring that with you. Apple cider vinegar. It's got to have the mother in it. That's with all the good bacteria. And so you got to really make sure you shake it up. And then you do that. And then, so green tea, apple cider vinegar. Oh, and the emergency little powder packets.
Well, like hydration salts things.
It's the powder, but it's like 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C or so. So you just make a hot tea and then you just mix it all together. It doesn't taste horrible, but it doesn't taste bad because you've got like the orange flavor from that. I promise you, if you take that, everybody who's listening and watching, you will make it through InfoComm, hopefully without getting that InfoComm cold. And it may also help for like the next mornings, if you've stayed out late, it's got those electrolytes and things like that. So see,
Good
I
stuff.
love, we could weave this into wellness for InfoComm. See
Yeah,
how Cracker Barrel can change lives, Ben.
Absolutely. And for those not interested in transporting small amounts of apple cider vinegar around the country in glass bottles, other uses for the bottles: small vase or vase, as you often say, small vase.
That's a good idea.
Small, just water. Keep water in there. So if you're walking and you want a small amount of water, or for the dog, give it to the dog. There you go. That could be good. Anyway,
That's a great
many different
idea.
uses for the Cracker Barrel recycling idea.
I will be bringing some so you have them, so you can bring around your small waters at ISC when I see you there.
Yeah, please do. And in case we forget, listeners, viewers, please remind us just before ISC when we start this podcast series up again. Sam owes me some Cracker Barrel maple syrup. Okay,
I cannot
that's a deal.
wait to go
it's
to
recorded.
The store. It's absolutely happening. Absolutely.
Okay.
And maybe I'll bring you a McDonald's one. Well, they've got that over there.
We've
so
got
you
those.
know what I'm talking about. Okay. You don't need them.
Don't worry
okay.
about
I'll
that.
bring it.
Yeah.
I got you.
Okay. I appreciate that. So I believe today's episode, as we finally got to it, it's fully sponsored by Crestron this week, and you spoke to them earlier. So would you mind giving us a bit of a preview about what you spoke about?
Absolutely. I really enjoyed speaking with Brad and Joel from Crestron. So we went over the 3 C's, which is content, collaboration, and control. And they also talked a little bit about what they're seeing in terms of the return to office, as well as our favorite topic, AI. You can't have any discussion without that being in there. So yeah, they talked about what they see going forward and the look ahead and Vision 2030, their keynote. There's a keynote there. So just so much really great information. So let's go ahead and check in and see what they had to say.
Let's do it.
I am thrilled to be joined with Brad and Joel from Crestron. Thank you so much, Brad and Joel, for joining us today.
Thank you for having us here.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. So let's go ahead and dive right in. So Crestron, so you guys have decided to organize your InfoComm story this year around the 3 C's that we've been teasing for a couple of times on our episodes. And those 3 C's are content, collaboration, and control. So can you share with me how these themes, how do they work together for customers?
Yeah, so I'll start, but then Joel will add all of the important detail to that because he's actually preparing a presentation on it. But the 3 C's really are an anchor for the way Crestron has been speaking about what we offer to the market. And really, this is driven by the reality that customers, all kinds of customers, need all of these 3 things. They need to be able to share information. They need to be able to collaborate, whether it's with remote attendees or in-person attendees. And they need to make sure that a space is super simple to use by anyone that walks into that space. And so in order to accomplish that and to meet those needs, they need content distribution, they need collaboration technology, and they need control to make it super easy to use a space. And so this is for us a way to frame the sets of technologies that Crestron has and connect it with the needs of our customers.
Yeah, we like to say the most impactful spaces come together with the 3 C's, right? As Brad said, you want to still share information, right? Content, that's through means of, wireless presentation, AV over IP, all those ways we get lots of sources to lots of displays, and even from one source to one display, whatever that combination is in your space. Collaboration is obviously engaging with people, right? So doing that in person is a super important part of, as we do this return to office and return to work model, but also hybrid, right? Leveraging platforms like Teams and Zoom to make sure that the meetings are equitable for people both in a meeting space and remote for the best hybrid experiences. And then control, obviously Crestron is a control company and has been for a long time. And that's really about bringing all of that together, making that seamless and easy to use for any level of user that is really matched to the workflow of the space. Different spaces have different workflows. The control aspect can really help to bring that workflow to life and make sure that anyone using that space, no matter what their skill level, they don't have to be an AV expert, can walk in and use that space for what it was intended to be used for.
Thank you so much, Joel, for, going a little bit more in depth about that. So I want to just touch base on how you make those 3 Cs as accessible and intuitive as possible, especially for, let's say, customers who want more seamless experiences and just not more tech being thrown at them. So how do you manage that?
Well, this for us is actually the motivation for talking about things in terms of the 3 Cs. Because when you're a product manufacturer and you introduce a super cool new black box and you're geeking out about it, it's so easy to just talk about the black box, right? The NVX 384 that has USB-C built in, or Automate VX that has visual AI. And so what we have done is by introducing this framework, talking about it in terms of what people need to accomplish. It helps keep us focused on solving real customer needs. And so really what we've tried to do is focus on articulating and or connecting to what are you trying to accomplish in the space? How do we get a better understanding and appreciation for what those things are? And then we go further. How do we recreate those spaces so they can sit down and see it and interact with it? And they can say, yes, this is what I want. No, could you do this instead? Right. So we've done that in our InfoComm booth in many different iterations of these full-on lifestyle type demos. We do that in our New York City showroom. So really, this framework, the 3 Cs framework, is to force us to keep focused on what are customers looking for, and then we can connect it to technology, and then following on with supportive demos as well.
Yeah, the 3 Cs really are a framework, right? We have a lot of technology that sits in those different buckets of the 3 Cs, but really, we said it earlier in the previous piece, but content is information, collaboration is people, and control is spaces. So when we think about information, people, and spaces, those are pretty key topics as we talk about, again, the spaces we're developing these days in enterprise, education, government. They really revolve around those 3 things, right? The need to share information, the need to engage with people, and the need to control those spaces in the most seamless ways.
And I would assume that in correlation with each of the Cs, that you would have some particular product that may be associated with it. Can you highlight some of those products that you have, and maybe that will even be there at InfoComm, and how those innovations really help to solve problems in real life, especially in terms of enterprise and education spaces?
Yeah, so when we talk content, typically our flagship there would be our AV over IP line, DMMBX, right? That is obviously a flagship at the company and one that we're really been driving in the industry to this adoption to AV over IP. Secondary to that sit things like our point-to-point solutions with DM Essentials, and even our presentation solutions with M Media, all about just getting content from source to display, and then to multiple displays as well when required. When we head into collaboration, obviously Crestron Flex is a core part of our lineup there, right? Bringing Teams and Zoom into those spaces, but our intelligent video lineup is incredibly important in that as well, right? Bringing in things like multi-camera with Automate VX, right down to single lens solutions as well that have intelligence built into them to really create that great meeting experience that you don't have to think about. Just walk in the room, be human, meet, and we'll let the technology do the rest of the work for you. And then when it comes to the control side of things, again, pedigree of Crestron is being a control company, automating these spaces, delivering those beautiful user interfaces when needed as well, so people can interact with the space in the most seamless way possible. And then taking all of that goodness of being, knowing where devices are, what devices are doing, and putting that into a cloud environment as well, so that we can better manage those spaces, we can monitor them better, and ultimately evolve those spaces as well through data and analytics.
And one of the things that we like to talk about with regard to the 3 Cs is that Crestron has deliberately built our products in a way that some of them deliver the 3 Cs in one single box. And as an example, Air Media has content, it has collaboration, and it has control built into one single box. Or a customer, maybe in a higher impact space, might need to bring a whole set of those technologies together. But the beauty of having a complete ecosystem is that a customer has the flexibility to choose the right products for the space or for the experience that they're looking for, but be able to rely on one manufacturer to be able to do that. So it makes it much easier to scale when you have that sort of flexibility.
Absolutely. And I love the framework that you guys have put that in, and also just for making things so seamless and just easy, to understand and then therefore to use. And yeah, I think it's going to be amazing. So people can know, oh, I know what the 3 Cs are now. I'm going to go to your booth and actually check out like those solutions that are each tailored kind of to fit into each of those C's that you guys have outlined. So I think that's fantastic. Definitely can't wait to check out the booth to see all those products. And now I want to talk a little bit more about the return to office, right? So it's still an ongoing thing. Hybrid work, obviously, it's here to stay, but people are now going back into the office. But what is Crestron seeing in the space, and what are you doing to help organizations create better in-room and hybrid collaboration experiences as we go down this road of return to office?
Well, what we're seeing is that customers are spending more on technology within their space, even amidst all of these return to office types of mandates. And we think that there's a trend there, a couple trends that are playing. First of all, you're never going to get rid of hybrid work, right? That we have all seen the value and the benefit that provides, and so even if you have most of your people in the office, you won't have all of them, right? And even when you do, you still have external vendors, you have external customers. So there is still a need to collaborate outside, and therefore you need good, high quality equipment inside of the room to enable that. That's one. Second, when you're in person, you still need technology to be able to collaborate in person. And so whether you're sharing a presentation, right, all kinds of needs arise when you're together to to share that content and that information. So enabling that in person, just so you have the right kit within the room, is super important. The third one that we're seeing, and we think it's really interesting, and it's a great opportunity for our industry, is that more and more of the non-technical business users have higher expectations for what they want to do in their space, right? And so, meaning, the non-geeky people see the benefit of technology because they've been living it on their laptop or in other places. They've been living with it on their mobile phone. And so they have these higher expectations for when they go into the office. And that means that organizations have to meet those needs. Great. We all are in a position in our industry to be able to meet those expectations, deliver very easy to use systems that they can rely on. So that trend of non-technical business leaders having these high expectations for what they should be able to do in their office is driving greater technology investments within organizations. And we think that that's a great opportunity for all of us.
Wonderful. And yes, like those non-techie people, I'm sure, are just expecting, all the time, all of our technology, it should just automatically work, right? And in terms of like open ecosystems and things. And that is, I think, what we should strive for, because, yeah, you do have those people who are not
Right.
as tech savvy. I would be one of those people in that category. But as open ecosystems are vitally essential, we do expect for all products and software and platforms to work together seamlessly. So why is interoperability such a key focus for Crestron right now?
Yeah, we believe that, at the end of the day, we make a bunch of technology that comes together and works in a harmonious and seamless way, right? Built to work together, right? That's what we build it as a platform or an ecosystem of devices. But we don't make everything in the room. There are other products that need to go into those spaces. So, a good example is displays, right? Crestron doesn't make displays. So we have a bunch of partnerships that we work with the display manufacturers to have as seamless of an integration as we can create. That really brings value to the customer, right? Making sure that those devices are easy to integrate. They report into things like XO Cloud, our cloud management platform. And then we have things like frameworks, right? Things where people can write their own software against our platform as well. And then an extension of that is also our API mentality, right? API first. We have APIs for a very large amount of our products. That means you can take them and really talk to any other platform you need to with our devices. Whether that could be another platform that just wants to monitor certain devices in a space, that's where our APIs are super useful, or even push and change settings in those devices as well. So we are very open in that sense. And again, that comes through partnerships first. Second to that is things like our frameworks. And then third is our APIs, which really sit in line with those frameworks as well.
And it seems that Crestron, is really focused on, listening to the customers. And as we were talking about, making things very seamless and easy to use. So where does customer-led design fit into Crestron's product development process? And how do you continue to ensure that you're building for the real world, for those type of environments for the users that you're working with?
I think this is, just especially since we just got back from Crestron Masters in Madrid. And one of the things that really stood out to me is that those people that are there are not, they're there for training, certainly, but they're building relationships also with our engineering team. Those that are designing products, those that are conceiving of products, they're also interacting with the engineers that are actually writing code that will get deployed on those products. And this has been a hallmark of Crestron's, product development life cycle, is get out on the front lines, go spend time with customers, spend time with our integrators, spend time with consultants, and just use all of that input to help drive and ensure that we're delivering the products that will actually be useful day to day. So that has been a real priority for the product team, and it continues to be today.
So you mentioned Crestron Masters. Is that an event that you were able to do all of those things there, or tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we're still, on the high coming out from Masters. It was
Of
such a
course.
fantastic event. It was the largest Masters we've ever held in Europe. 700 of our closest friends just coming together to get educated, gain certifications. I think an important detail is that it's hands-on, right? There are legitimate labs where they're doing work. It's not just all conceptual, which is really excellent. Of course, they're networking with Crestron employees, but then also they're networking among their peers too. And there were several of those that, I spoke with that said, yeah, I came last year to Orlando and I met this guy and I had this project, 3 months ago, and I was able to call him and he helped me out on that project. And so this networking within the community is so valuable. So it's education and certification. It's speaking directly with Crestron, but then it's also networking among their peers, and just so much energy and optimism and excitement. It's super infectious.
Oh, I can feel the energy, Brad. I'm so excited that it was a successful event. Where is it happening next year?
We will announce those details in the next couple months, but it will be in the fall of next year here in North America. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Well,
Yeah.
yes, continue to bring that energy and excitement with you to InfoComm. Definitely, yeah. Can't wait to see you guys there. And I'm so happy that the Masters was such a success. So I'm sure at the Masters, the Crestron Masters, I'm sure some of the topics of sustainability may have come up, or, people and their peers may be chatting about it. It is definitely a major focus in the industry. So I would love to know, how is Crestron approaching this? And if you can share some highlights from your recent sustainability report with our audience, I think that would be wonderful.
Yeah, so I think that this is something we speak about frequently. And Dan Feldstein, the CEO, he really reinforces we need to be committed to sustainability efforts, but we need to do it in an authentic way. Let's not do it just for praise or just to look good, but it doesn't have any meat behind it. So what you'll see from Crestron is this authentic approach to sustainability. Might come across as not super flashy, but what it is it's real meat and potatoes kinds of sustainability work. And we just published our first impact report earlier this year. And so you can get into a lot of the details as it relates to our programs. But there are a couple of things that we can call out. One is we have paid significant attention to our packaging over the last several years, and we have made great strides in terms of reducing plastic, and reducing the overall footprint of our products. You can see within the impact report the comparison and the journey that we have been on. So really proud of that progress, and we will continue to work on that. For some customers, we have worked on things like bulk packaging, right? When you're buying hundreds and hundreds of touchscreens, how can you package those together in one big box rather than hundreds of individual boxes. So we have done that on occasion as necessary. So that's an important one. Another one that we're really proud of too is, we know that within Crestron, we have to prioritize our own efforts as a citizen of Earth. So we have a number of programs internally that we take advantage of. As a manufacturer, we focus on things like packaging, product quality. Another one that I think people overlook sometimes is the quality of products is actually a sustainability effort, because if you can extend the life of a product, you're reducing the amount of materials that are getting put back out there into the world. So that has always been a core tenet here at Crestron, is build high quality products, make them so they continue to upgrade and work really well. We have a lot of products that are out there and have been deployed in customers' buildings for 10, 15, 20 years. And so that's a huge tenet there. The third pillar, we've got Crestron as corporate citizen of Earth. We've got Crestron as a manufacturer. But then the third pillar of our sustainability strategy is, how do we partner with our channel to operate with sustainable practices as they go deploy with customers? And so this is where we have actually partnered with SAVE, because they're a volunteer organization that's helping to provide education and support for our channel as they go and work closely with customers around some of these sustainability topics. So, this is a long-term journey for us, and we're starting to make some really significant strides there as well.
That's amazing and so impressive. And yeah, I love the way your three-pronged approach at that is really inspirational. I think it's important to build, good quality products. I don't think people think about that. Like, that's another way, instead of having to, have not as great or good quality products that you have to, just continue to throw out versus, like a good standing product. And shout out to SAVE. Yes, they will also be obviously at InfoComm, and they've got a booth there. And sustainability is definitely going to be a topic discussed at InfoComm. We've got a lot of great education sessions around them. And speaking more on InfoComm, I know you have a wonderful and exciting Vision 2030 keynote that I'm very much looking forward to. So if you want to talk about any of the themes that you'll be chatting about, I know AI may be one that may be coming into that discussion. Can you share with us a little bit about that and what's coming next?
Yeah, I think certainly we're excited to talk about the future of AV. We've been a long time player within the industry, and we still see so much opportunity out there. So AI certainly will be a topic, but we're kind of focused on, hey, let's pull back from this crazy like pie in the sky talk about AI, and let's talk about the practical and what can we do today and where will we begin to see meaningful benefit. So we'll talk about that. For us, that's certainly real within our intelligent video solution. But then we'll also talk about how are we leveraging AI to make the deployment of Crestron products simpler, easier, and more scalable too. So I think that will be a really interesting one. We'll talk more too about the expectations of end users, how those continue to increase, and how as an industry need to show up and help deliver on those. We're uniquely positioned to do that, and let's make sure that we're prioritizing creating those kinds of experiences. So I'm looking forward to it. It'll be a great discussion.
Well, definitely excited to check out your keynote. So can you share with our audience what date and time is that taking place so they can make sure that they don't miss it?
That is Thursday, June 12th at 11 a.m. So make sure you show up. I think it will be a really good discussion.
Fabulous. And in addition to that keynote that you cannot miss, what else do you guys have on your horizon? Are there any other fun and just engaging and informational things that you can share with our audience that they can expect to see?
Yeah, right before that, actually same day, Thursday, the 12th of June, we do at 9:30 have a space on the spotlight stage as well. So we're going to be spending some time talking about the 3 Cs, right? Talking about content, collaboration, and control, and technology that really powers those. And then give me some use case examples, right? And some proof points as to like where we're seeing customers use those and get the best out of them. And also some some typical spaces you can use those technologies in as well. And that'll be followed up by a panel session as well that we're going to bring some customers in, some Crestron SMEs as well. We're going to be having a bit of a conversation about that and starting to unpack some of those technologies that we talk about, best ways to use them, and really how to get the most out of them. What's happening in the world today as we do this return to office, return to work, and move forward as an industry.
Yeah, Joel and I were talking through the details of his presentation last night. I think it will be an excellent discussion, especially the panel discussion and real practical details around what's it look like to deploy these things. Where let's talk through some of those customers. So that will be a good panel. We have several other panels happening throughout the event. And so actually, if you go to crestron.com/InfoComm, you can see all of those details, and hopefully people will join us for more of those. One of the other things that we're looking forward to at Masters, we introduced something called the Modern Work Certification. We're doing that again here at InfoComm. So people can sign up, they can go in and get, again, hands-on education and training and walk out with a certification called the Crestron Modern Work Certification. It's all about AV over IP, flex video, intelligent video design, and then AirMedia wireless presentation and conferencing. So a really useful certification. And all that info is crestron.com/InfoComm.
Great. I'm so glad you guys have that in one centralized location. I know you're doing a lot at InfoComm. People have so many opportunities to come and check out all of the amazing things that you guys are doing. So you've got to share with our audience what your booth number is so everybody knows where to go to check out all of the amazing technology that you guys have and just all the demos and all the great things that you're doing at InfoComm.
Booth 2300, you really can't miss it. I'm sure Joel has hired an airplane to fly above above all the booths to say 3Cs. But yeah, 2300, people can register, use the code Crestron when they register, and they can get a free pass to the expo as well.
Wonderful. Definitely a booth that can't be missed and is hard to miss at InfoComm. Well, I can't thank you both. Thank you so much, Brad and Joel, for sitting down and chatting with me. Loved every moment of it. And I really can't wait to see you guys in a few weeks at InfoComm and check out the booth in addition to all the other amazing things you guys have going on. So thank you so much again for sitting with me on Backstage Pass.
Thank you, Samantha.
Thanks, Amanda.
Well, I absolutely enjoyed that conversation. Thank you once again, Crestron. It's always so great chatting with you. And yeah, definitely can't wait to stop by the booth and see what they've got in store at InfoComm.
Yeah, great job, Sam. It was a really great conversation, and anyone attending the show really should stop by. It sounds like a great experience that they have there. So next week on the show, we are going to be joined by Plexus AV and Riedel. We're going to be having some conversations with them about all the cool things that they're working on at the moment. So definitely looking forward to that. But Sam, if you can believe it, we've come to the end of another episode of Backstage Pass already. Where's the time
Goes
gone?
by so quickly. I think especially with conversations about emergency and apple cider vinegar and how to stay healthy at InfoComm 2025.
Well, I mean, it sounds like you're all set.
I'm ready.
I wish I could be there. Unfortunately, as we've gone over many times, I'm not going to be. But as long as you keep on drinking that apple cider vinegar, keep collecting those Cracker Barrel syrup bottles, you're going to be fine.
Can't stop, won't stop.
Yeah, you'll be fine without me. But yeah, thank you very much, Sam. It's always a pleasure seeing you and working with you on these podcasts. And to everyone watching, everyone listening, we look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Backstage Pass. Goodbye.
See you later.